Hello there, my name is Charles Bishop. I am the head of communications over at EOS Support, and it is my pleasure today. Hi, starting again. Hello there, my name is Charles Bishop. I am the head of communications over at EOS Support, and it is my pleasure today to host our first open mic streaming event here on YouTube Spaces and live on YouTube. For the newcomers, EOS Support is a non-profit organization dedicated to providing support in all its forms to the EOS community and to companies seeking to develop on EOS and its upcoming EVM that we'll be discussing today. If you missed this show and couldn't have your questions answered live here with us, no worries. You can always ask for help from EOS Support agents 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and for free on our website eossupport.io. If you miss this show, yes, you can go to the website and always have your questions answered there, no problem. But it's always more fun to do this in person, and that's why we're here today. And at following events like this, we're going to do even more of these ones, so everyone can have a chance to come in, have their questions answered live here with us, and also to get a brief summary of everything that has happened throughout the week. Including what was discussed in the EOS Fireside Chats, which are open mic sessions held on EOS Discord and every Wednesday. So I invite you all to join every Wednesday the EOS Community Fireside Chat, which is a gateway also to have your voice heard within the community. Now, I am no developer and no expert on the crypto space. I am a communicant, content creator, and overall just a concerned global citizen. Searching for ways to give us a fighting chance at overcoming the rising amount of challenges that humanity will face. One of those ways being our highly efficient and truly decentralized EOS blockchain and the fractal democracy that powers it. So of course I can answer all EOS related questions, but I'll be sure to point you in the right direction and have the most respected EOS community members at your disposal here on our show. So let's start today. Let's see if we are on call today to be invited. And I'll add the EOS network DAO to coordinate the event. And we have another crypto here today, Creamy Vanilla. Hey there. So this is an open mic session. You're all welcome to ask for a place at the stage. You're all welcome to come ask your questions live here with us. Today we'll be having a brief summary of everything that has happened throughout the week here on EOS. So that includes a summary of the EOS Fireside Chat, among other things. But at any time, if you don't understand or have questions about anything that is discussed here, you can always ask for anything. Just raise your hands and we'll be sure to point you in the right direction or answer your question directly. I've added the EOS Network DAO here. You're welcome to join our YouTube event live on YouTube. The chat will appear right here, so you can all ask your questions live here with us if you don't want to raise your hand. Every question that pops up, well, I'll be sure to answer them as best I can and as quick as I can also. So for now, and until we have any questions live, I'll be sure to start with a summary of the EOS Fireside Chat that happened recently. Again, if at any time you have some questions, don't hesitate to raise your hand and I'll be sure to answer them. Good. So, what happened this week? There's a lot. Yesterday was the EOS Fireside Chat, as I said, and this is a brief summary of what happened there for everyone that missed it, or for everyone that wants to, again, have a better insight on what happened and have a chance also to ask more questions live here with us to anyone that wishes to participate in an media event. All right. So we'll go over the Fireside Chat topics that were discussed yesterday. And one or the first thing that was discussed was chatting on Twitter or Discord, which is best. And it was a topic on the Fireside Chat, and the consensus was that the community likes Discord more because it's more flexible to speak up. Everyone can just join in, unmute themselves, and have a quick chat with everyone. It's more open discussion, contrary to Twitter Spaces where you have to request to speak. But again, Twitter would be good for more outreach. The more people join Twitter Spaces, the more Twitter has a chance to promote the event and offer the event to more persons in the crypto community space, or just anyone that is interested in technologies or democracy as well. So again, that's why we're here today, to see if EOS Support and myself can help relay and summarize the topics discussed on the Fireside Chat, and for us all to find the best platform to host each event. So after that, the Pomelo Season 2 has ended. So Pomelo, for those that don't know, is the crowdfunding system that we have here on EOS. It's a quadratic funding system where everyone can pitch in as little as 1 EOS or less, and every contribution helps to have a project funded. Each season happens every quarter, and last season, Pomelo Season 2, ended recently. Over 1 million in USD have been distributed in this crowdfunding season, 125,000 of which are direct contributions from the EOS Network Foundation to promising projects. So the ENF was searching for valuable projects who didn't get a lot of support and funding from the community, and topped up these projects in dire need of funding. So these are new and therefore unknown projects to the community, all that made extra efforts to present their pitch on Fireside Chat, where they were invited to present their projects. So these fundings will give them a little more runway until the next Pomelo season in second quarter of 2022. Also yesterday, 26th of May, a new wave of EOS public goods was able to begin claiming their funds. If you're one of them, you should find inside your Pomelo profile the claim button, and then be able to claim your EOS after a KYC. I'll quickly check if there's any hands raised so far. Right, continuing with the EOS topics that were discussed on the Fireside Chat. We have already Zach Goll here today, inviting you as a co-host, so you can unmute and mute yourself at leisure. One of the topics that we were going to discuss today was the Mandel upgrade, of course, and the upcoming Trust EVM, Ethereum virtual machine that is being developed over at the EOS Network Foundation. I've invited you to speak. You're welcome to join at any time. Until so, I'll begin and continue with the summary of the EOS Fireside Chat that has been going on. So the next topic discussed on the Fireside Chat was the Eden fractal governance system that we use here on EOS. It was pointed out that it's a great way to select trusted delegates, which in turn offers us the perfect mechanism for these community delegates to distribute much needed funding at each Pomelo season. It was noted that if teams also hold on to the EOS received during the Pomelo rounds, they can then grow a shared equity within the EOS network, which is also a good thing. After that, we have, and I'll switch for this one to our shared screen. We have more news on the Token 2049 event that is going to happen later in September, right around the time where the Mandel upgrade will be launching. It's the 23rd of September, if I recall correctly. And yeah, we have more information on that from the EOS Fireside Chat, and where the ENF announced their plans to keep participating in future blockchain events. Since EOS never had representatives at such events, it's a good thing that we have the ENF for representing us at Asia's premier crypto event, and we can't wait to discover more. So we had a bit more info from the ENF on what's going to happen, and the first one is the Token 49 event on 29 and 28th of September, which is at the same time of the Formula 1 Singapore Grand Prix. And they will showcase there the new branding for EOS IO and of course the EOS Trust EVM, and bring forth the incredible story of how our EOS community took its future into its own hands and successfully stood up to the big companies, here Block 1. So the ENF has now publicly proven itself for 9 months, and its reputation will back up the story of how our EOS journey went. When facing also the major media outlets, this will give us good storytelling and proof of concept. So all this will be showcased at these events, and also at events such as these. A lot of the action happens at satellite events after the main event, and running such satellite events would be a goal of the ENF. Some more information on the EOS Network Foundation's presence at the Token 2049, as discussed at yesterday's EOS Fireside Chat, was the booth, which is a 190 square foot booth in prime location near the entrance of the exhibition hall. They will be promoting EOS across Token 2049's socials and with email marketing as well, in particular after the closing of the event. Also, the logo will be displayed on the main stage, where it will be seen on all videos and live casts. It will also be featured as title sponsor on the event website and all printed brochures and materials, as well as on signs across the venue. They will be invited to VIP speaker diners also the night before the conference. And finally, the ENF will also have a private area to invite guests for informal meetings, etc. So that's all the information delivered to us yesterday about the ENF's involvement in the event. Again, if anyone wants to jump in right now, complement a bit more information, you're welcome to do so at any time. After that, we have, next topic discussed was the request for proposals. Switching there. Yeah. So, the request for proposals originate from the many blue papers already published by the ENF working groups. So, Origin has said that it will apply to the faster finality RFP, and multiple proposals are expected. So Greymass, in turn, will apply for the Wallet Plus SDK. Not sure if anyone wants to compete with Greymass. They've been doing such an amazing job with their wallet Anchor for EOS, and we can wait all to discover what they will do with the Wallet Plus SDK. Of course, RFPs allow us to build an healthy EOS ecosystem, as discussed on Fireside Chat, because multiple teams will compete to get each contract. More and more RFPs will show up soon, and if you are an engineer, developer, or a team, this is an opportunity for you to build on EOS and to have your project respected by the whole community and grow in name within our beautiful community again. So next, Drew and Matthew Darwin put together an article about subjective billing and lost transactions. So the improvements also that it will entail, which will follow with the upcoming Mandel upgrade. It explains how individual nodes keep track of failed transactions on the EOS network. The problem was people started to take advantage of the fact that failed transactions are actually free. So they tackled this emergent issue and gave a couple of recommendations on how to handle it. You can find all that in the article published on the EOS Network Foundation's website again, a new website that I've been discovering the past week. A beautiful website, and I'm happy to find the translations also in Korean and Chinese so far are here again, same as on the Medium website before. Overall a great website and great job from the ENF. I can't wait everything that will be done and later down the line to better present the EOS ecosystem through that website. I know we here at EOS Support are also preparing a second version of our website, which will include many features well requested by the community, which includes DApps lists and repertories, which will help people find the DApps they're looking for and also find everything within the EOS ecosystem more easily, as well as always get help live 24 hours a day from our agents and help from our many tutorials in already 9 different languages. So after that we have Emanate, which was discussed again on the EOS Fireside Chat. So Emanate is the Spotify on EOS, and it will be having a launch party this weekend on Saturday, which is US time. It will be happening on Sunday in Asia, for example. And it will be a beta release with a lot of artists, and .gems will also be around, which Stefan is a member of, and he presents the EOS Fireside Chats each Wednesday. So after that we have a Trust Swap, which is a swap that will be deploying on the EOS EVM, and that has already launched on the testnet. That Telegram, I'll be posting it on the YouTube chat for everyone to find. If you're a developer, you're welcome to join their Telegram group and find the newly released swap on the testnet. So last things discussed on the Fireside Chat were what's happening with Dan Larimer. So as always, we have little information on what's happening over at Fractally. The Fractally meetings continue, but officially, it's official now, Fractally will have their own chain. So this will allow EOS and Fractally alike to keep evolving at their own pace. And since Fractally is chain agnostic, this means everyone will benefit sooner rather than later from the fractal democracy that is at the core of both our chains. Dan's team, him and himself, of course, will remain on standby for the Monday release, which includes support for bugs, etc. Last but not least, in the next weeks, EOS.io will get a rebrand, and a new name. Mind that. After this, an EOS rebrand is planned as well, and we'll be sure to find out more at 2049's event from the ENF, and before that, I'm sure. So that concludes all the info dump from yesterday's Fireside Chat. For those of you that missed it or just wasn't present for the whole Fireside Chat, there were lots of great topics discussed there, so don't hesitate to drop in at this community event every Wednesday. Again, it's a more open talk than here on Twitter Spaces. We have more outreach here, but it's easier to just unmute yourself on the Discord chat. And that concludes the info dump from the Fireside Chat. So from now on, it will be a more open discussion about what's been happening with the Mandel upgrades and the Trust EVM, and more recent events that have been happening throughout EOS. We have Dr. Wu, who asked for a request. Hey there.
Hello?
Hey, Dr. Wu.
Oh man, so many things I wanted to comment on it. First off, I'm really excited about my friend. Can you hear me? As it sounds
Yeah, no, it's perfect. I can hear you.
Okay. I'm really excited about my friend David, who's got the Trust Swap group and Telegram he's building on the Trust EVM. And he's probably one of the first ETH devs that came over. And he's tapping a free trading session this weekend. If anyone wants to learn coding and smart contract beginner style, but it's sort of, I guess, it's Solidity Ethereum development, which is sort of new to the whole ecosystem. But I'm going to go ahead and join him just to support him. He was asking for help in the group, and I've really been trying to help him any way I can. There was something else that you mentioned. I can't even remember now. Anyways, that's it for now.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for pitching in. Yeah, I've been quite quick on the summary from the Fireside Chat. I can quickly go over the topics, maybe it will refresh your mind. So among the topics were, again, Dance Fractally, we had the Trust Swap, Emanate, which is launching its party event, Drew and Matthew Darwin, who put together the article about subjective billing. We have the request for proposals, and also the 2049 event, of course, the ENF, which announced how they were involved in it. We have the Eden Fractal Governance, which was also mentioned in the Fireside Chat as a great way to distribute funding from trusted people in the community. And we also have the Pomelo Season 2, which ended, and the decision of the community whether to switch from Discord or to Twitter, which one we were going to use. And yeah, that's why I'm here again today. It's for hosting more events and see if we can coordinate each one to have each our own event. For example, the Fireside Chat keeping on Discord for everyone to join more easily, and me and the EOS Support coming after that the next days to summarize the Fireside Chat and to have more discussions, but this time on Twitter Spaces. So we can complement each other and maybe little by little find out how we can work everything out.
I totally agree with that move, because trying to fit all the discussions and content that is across our ecosystem into one channel it's just too much. There's too much stuff going on. And I think that, having more outlets for the different kinds of information or opportunities is a great idea.
I think so. Yeah, that's everything that we're about here at the EOS Support, is just finding ways to include everyone as much as possible into open discussions, have everyone join in and have their questions answered as best as we can each time. It's a big task. I mean, that's our goal, having someone in each community, an organization that knows about EOS, that thanks to the guides that we propose, the help that we offer here at EOS Support, and little by little having every community which wants to build on EOS to have someone knowledgeable about EOS within themselves. And for that, I have as many events as possible where we can join in and newcomers can come in and ask questions, is the way to go, I think. That's my personal opinion, but also as a head of communications at EOS Support, I have to envision how we can help best as we can to have the most reach possible, but in the best way possible, where everyone can have the best way to participate in each event.
And talking about having the most reach possible, I'm not sure about the new ENF website, like if it's one I've seen or not, but if there's being new websites being released, I'm sort of curious about marketing within EOS. And there's the EOS marketing.io site that I visited and was trying to interact with, and I was under the impression that that project may be defunct. And meanwhile, I've been talking to just EOFBs about SEO and how it works with YouTube and text and whatnot, and coming up with a comprehensive, strategized game plan of SEO optimization that can be something that all the ecosystem can have an alignment with. And so my question is, does anyone look at SEO? Are we using any kind of analytics and data? What tools do we have available to track our visitations and encourage the growth? And does anyone have any interest in forming some sort of more organized and collaborative communication over that?
Now, I personally have been working in community management. I've also done SEO down the line before. And the best way it works from the Google algorithms, etc., is the more links linked to your website, the more good SEO you'll have. So one of the best ways to have a good SEO anytime is to make sure that as much people as possible link to your website. Here are these community, that could take the form of just making sure that as much of a website as possible link to other websites in the ecosystem. So that's a great way, as always, to have a good SEO. And of course, SEO has a big place, I think, for the ENF, for EOS Support as well. We'll be sure to optimize it as best as we can for the new website that we are planning for EOS Support. I know that when I was at the EOS Bees, when I was helping them set up the French Hive, it was a big question also where to post our articles. A good thing at the time was to post on Medium because they have great SEO, and it makes, of course, things easier to find articles that way. After that, we moved on to Bywire, to posting all the EOS Bees articles, but that's also a great way to keep things within the ecosystem and having everything links between each other. I have more requests for talks. Let's see. Be the Crypto. You're live. But yeah, SEO is always very important for everyone. And yeah, again, a good way to have a good SEO is to have as much links as possible in our website to other EOS related websites. May it be the ENF, EOS Support, etc. That's the basis.
Inbound links is only one form of factors that affect SEO. And one of my bigger concern is that Google or major search engines may actually be censoring or devaluing content. And I don't know if that's the case, but I can tell you that it's become very difficult to find information on Google that used to be very easy for websites that were available, and often I get irrelevant results. So the other thing I have a big problem personally with Google Analytics. If you look into Google Analytics, I think there's actually some states that have considered Google Analytics fraudulent or unscrupulous and privacy intrusion. And I'm not sure if Google Analytics is being used on any of the EOS websites. I haven't looked at it closely, but I can tell you that Michael from Bywire turned me on to Plausible, which I totally like and am happy with because it didn't have the same kinds of issues with Google.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. No, I get it. I think the Google algorithm now is much simpler than before. When I started community management and SEO, now it really has only to do with how many links are really linked to your website. It was very complicated at some time, but now, they really simplified it to really just how many website linked to yours. Be the Crypto, you're welcome to speak up. You're now live to ask your questions.
Okay.
Hello
yes, I heard you just say that Fractally is going to be a separate chain from EOS. Does that mean that the tokens are going to be separate and there's not going to be any benefit as far as price rising from EOS because of Fractally?
Well, that's not the case, thankfully. So the way Fractally works is it wants to build autonomy for every organization. So of course, every organization to be more autonomous, that's the principles behind the More Equal Animals from Dan Larimer and the overall Fractally working. So the way it works, every organization needs its own token, but they also have to collaborate and form bridges and links with other tokens. So Dan spoke about it, and the way it will work is when Fractally token, for now, Fractally only has one prime fractal. Prime fractals are fractals which are organizations dedicated to just popularizing the fractal concept. And when the prime fractal of Fractally, which is the one that's been having the weekly meetings from now, launches its token, the goal is to have this token paired up with EOS. So any token can have up to 12 pairs. That's the way Fractally works. And one of those pairs would be EOS. So when Fractally launches, it will have some sort of link with EOS, and both can benefit from both popularity. So yeah, in the end, it will benefit EOS if EOS is one of the first chains that will be linked with the first Fractal token. And of course, if we're the first ones to link with them, it means that maybe more fractals will want to link with EOS down the line. And yeah, EOS can really benefit from being one of the first chains to collaborate with Fractally. And I know the Eden delegates and community overall has been speaking about having their own fractal. There's also over at Fractally a fractal dedicated to EOS network that is being discussed and planned. And yeah, once all these fractals are able to launch, they can all pair with EOS, and they can have then their own token and also benefit from having the global EOS token as one token to rule them all. Yeah, so that's the way it's gonna work, and I think personally that both EOS and Fractally will benefit from each other down the line. Yeah, so that's the news I have from that end. Yeah, Nova Crypto. You requested to talk. You can jump in anytime now, and yeah.
Yeah, hello everyone. Hello Charles. So shout out to organize this Twitter space today, and to follow the discussion. We had a nice discussion on this Monday. On Fractally brainstorming sessions regarding the last events with EOS blockchain, the EOS mainnet, and the Fractally LLC continuing to implement Fractally. We just debate on the last tweets of Daniel Larimer on the last tweet that he made, and also how we can bridge with the liquidity EOS and Fractally. And I think it's a very good news that we have Eden on EOS, Fractally, EOS, so a lot of good news. And we are just to find a way to bridge the circle at the best. So that's what we do with Jesse Jaffe on the Monday. I'm co-hosting with him. And also I interviewed Jesse Jaffe on May 23rd, and the article, the video is totally translated into 11 languages, included French and Turkish and other language, Chinese and also Korean. And it is on the Bywire website. So if you go on the Bywire website and you search for EOS Biz, you will find the video with the transcript. That's the first time that we have done that, because it's very important, the language barrier issue before the SEO. SEO is also important, but the most important at the moment is to reach the influencers. It's what is doing Jesse Jaffe, and also with a referral system developed by EOS Support. So EOS Support and EOS Biz are collaborating with a referral system. Soon that the influencer followers will be reached, those followers will be driven to the EOS Support agent thanks to the referral system. So, and also doing the translation and all that, I am involved into this also. So I am very excited about the translation. And yeah, that's what I want to tell you here, because we spoke about how we can reach more audience, more people, and the languages is a part of that. And also reach the followers of the influencer. So EOS Biz is involved into that. EOS Support also with the referral system, and so we are all pushing into the same direction, I think.
Absolutely, yep. Reaching out in as many languages as possible is also a big goal of mine and EOS Support. I speak French, Spanish and English, and I'll be sure to host events such as these in also Spanish and French to have as many people in those languages come in and have this question answered live. And yeah, I also wanted to do.
And I forget to mention. Thank you, Charles, to have accepted the last interview. And for the people here, if you don't know what is EOS Support exactly, what they are doing, you can go and jump into the last video of Charles Arroyo Bishop, and there was this interview that I have made with him. That's in English, but you can also see the translation, and you can have access to the other episode that I have hosted with Randall Rowland, the CEO of EOS Support. So you have also some things to see. And to watch, to listen.
Yeah, that's perfect. And again, yeah, the next events will be also in French and Spanish. I can't speak any more languages, but I'll be sure to host as many events as possible in different languages, French and Spanish for me, to make sure that everyone can join in and have their questions answered. And if they don't get or can, are more comfortable, asking questions in French or discussing those in French or Spanish, we'll be sure to have these events so more people can join. I can't wait to have more events planned with the South American community, EOS community. I've been doing interviews with them when I started with EOS a year ago. They've been great interviews, so can't wait just to give them a chance to have people in their community to join in Spanish, or more people here in France. I know we have a lot of a small community here in France, EOS community, but many passionate people that would like to have the chance to come in and have their questions answered in French, or just participate in events which are not just in English. So little by little, that's what I'm going to do here at EOS Support, making sure these events are made in French, also in Spanish, for me, live. And I want to do a quick shout out to we have the EOS Network DAO here with us, but behind it is Dario Cesaro of the EOS community, which made the summary of yesterday's EOS Fireside Chat, which I relayed here today. I just wanted to thank him for making the notes and making it available as a summary for everyone here today. Quick shout out also to James Mart, who is here with us today. I never got the chance to thank him for his work on everything EOS related. When I started a year ago with the EOS community, I started to discover many respected members of the community, and I discovered James Smart through one of his amazing articles, which is Fractal Democracy, a Primer, which I then translated to French as soon as I could, and which is now on our EOS Support website. It was a great article explaining the fractal democracy behind EOS. And yeah, I recognize many faces here with us today. Many people, Wilfred Patrick, which is one of our EOS Support squad members, which has been doing many translations and videos promoting EOS account creation and the EOS community in general in Africa. So yeah, many known faces here with us today. I could spend all my time just giving shout outs to everyone, because many people here have been doing an amazing job at within the EOS community. And it's just my goal here today to little by little contribute as best as I can in my own way as a content creator, a communicant, to spread the word of EOS and all the good things that we're doing here within the community. Also, I want to remind that the event is live on our YouTube channel, EOS Support. If you don't have the time to join in live here with us with your mic, you're all welcome to just post your questions on the YouTube chat, which is live again on our EOS Support YouTube channel, and I'll be sure to answer your questions posted there directly if you can join in with the chat, with the mic on Twitter Spaces. So
I just want to give a big shout out here to all the people that are in your support, and also to benefit to say that Krimi Vanilla that is with us today, so Veronica Diaz of Venezuela, Krimi Vanilla, is doing a fantastic job also with EOS Vision, and that's on Twitter. Every day you have a tweet about the news of the day. That's EOS Vision. So like this, you don't miss any news about EOS. It's always updated. So big shout out to her, to Veronica.
Yeah, shout out to Veronica, long time EOS community member, which has done a lot for the community and has done lots also for her own community back in South America, doing charity events, distributing food to people in need. And that's also why we're doing everything for the EOS community. Just it reaches far and wide beyond just the scope of the blockchain. It means having funding to do what we want to do for our communities, the local communities. Veronica has been doing that for her own community locally by distributing again food and first need items to her own community, and much respect for that. That's the goal that we all have, is to benefit from the EOS ecosystem, and after that, well, benefit and make sure our local community benefits from all that and impact local change in each of our communities, giving them more autonomy and also a way to handle the challenges that we'll be sure to be facing down the line. It's going to get harder for everyone around the world, and yeah, that's why we're here today, to come together and say no to the current system and make one that benefits truly to every one of us. So in that way, Krimi Vanilla has been one of the first community members to make sure her own community benefits from the EOS ecosystem. Shout out to you, Krimi. Veronica.
Hey, I was going to ask, is there somebody in charge of press releases? I'm surprised there's not more press releases on Coinbase and some of the bigger news sites to let people know what's going on. I think that would help a lot to get the word out to developers especially.
Sure. Actually, there was a post about the ENF. I don't know if I'll be able to find it. The thing is, well, it's mainly the ENF job to relay articles to the wider media outlets. So recently it was discussed on the latest weekly summary from the ENF. One of the topics discussed was the articles which were recently published by Wired and Forbes. Both articles were speaking of the EOS EVM, which is coming, and the ENF does, I think, a great job so far at relaying the important information of the EOS ecosystem to the major media outlets. I mean, Wired and Forbes are pretty consequent media outlets, and having our information relayed to them is, well, a great way to have a voice heard. And again, it's my opinion that the ENF has done a good job at making sure that the major media outlets receive information from what's going on within the EOS ecosystem. They've been doing it recently, and it's been discussed in the most recent weekly summary of the EOS news. But I've been with the EOS community for a year, and when the ENF took over from Block 1, I almost immediately saw they work towards reaching out to major media outlets And in the weeks that followed this big change, we started to see big media outlets already speaking about EOS, and I'm sure it was all thanks to the ENF work at reaching out to, I know they've hired agencies, communication agencies. Wishing I would have someone from the ENF speak about it today, but from so far what I've gathered is yes, they've been doing the outreach themselves, and from agencies to major media outlets. And we've been seeing the work they've done through the recent, Wired and Forbes article, but I remember even from the weeks before and months before, we had major outlets which relayed EOS information. And I'm sure the only reason today, if people in the crypto community and major crypto spaces know about EOS, it's thanks to the work that has done the ENF about reaching out to the outlets. So from my opinion, they've been doing a great job on that end. I'll try to find the summary of where they point out to the articles. We can see all that there, everything EOS weekly report, and there it is. Switching over to screen display, and yeah.
What about interviews for like Dan Lambert doing more interviews with some of these former stock people that have gotten into crypto and don't understand DAOs and like the big pro one is the Shark Tank guy. All the Shark Tank people are getting into it, and that would be a good person for like Dan Lambert to explain to those type of people how a DAO would work. And then Real Vision, he's another big person that he understands a whole lot, but it'd be nice for somebody like Dan Lambert to talk to his audience. And there's a whole bunch of people like that out there that don't know about the DAOs and how big it's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we all would love Dan to participate more and have more open discussions. I've been with EOS for a year. I joined the community when I read More Equal Animals from Dan. I fell in love with the fractal democracy process and everything described in the book, and that's what decided me to join the EOS community and help everyone build the community together. Dan, I've been able to speak with him on several occasions now. I've been participating in the Fractally meetings. Each time he gets on to talk and explain his vision, sure, it's more precise, and it's always better to get the voice heard and having himself explain what a DAO is and how everyone can benefit from having more autonomy through DAO organizations. But sadly, and not so sadly, Dan is also a very passionate developer. He spends all his time these days building, and I respect that a whole lot. I, for example, I'm not a developer, I'm just a content creator. I don't participate that much in open discussions, but I make sure to hear what people have to say. That includes Dan's vision. And the way I see it is, sadly, Dan can do a whole lot of events, but when he does, I'm there to listen in, get his opinion, get what he's, in his own words, how a DAO works, how we can all benefit from it. And my job as a communicant, and I'm sure many people who aren't developers, but who want to contribute to having everyone learn more about DAOs and how they can benefit from EOS. Our job is to summarize his thoughts and make sure that people in our own languages, I do translations in French and then Spanish, and make sure his voice is heard in those languages afterwards. So I'm always happy to have Dan speak up more, but from all the interviews that we have about him, about his vision, from the Fractally meetings, which I participate when I can each Saturday, I always make sure to take notes about what he says in his own words. and then I'm very happy to translate it and to summarize it for everyone to hear about it over at EOS Support, his views about fractal governance, about DAOs, and yeah, that's my opinion about it. Hearing what he has to say, and we're just one person. I'm sure Dan is a very passionate person. He has a lot to say, but he's just one person, and we have to make our part in, if we love our vision, while sharing it to the wider crypto space and to our friends and family. That's my goal, is to have local currencies made on EOS, have local communities benefit from fractal democracy, and I have my friends, my families, and my local communities benefit from all that we're doing here today. And since Dan is very focused on crypto talk, even his book, More Equal Animals, which I translated into French, has a lot of terms and things that are very crypto related. It's not easily read by people outside of the crypto space. So there's a work to be done for sure about vulgarizing, yeah, that's why we do it, his talk about his vision, and making sure that people outside of the crypto space get a chance at better understanding it. Dan speaks a lot in terms of crypto terms, etc. And well, it's jobs for communicants such as myself to make sure everyone gets a chance to see what he really means behind all the crypto talk, and make sure that, yeah, our local communities, friends and families benefit from it, even if they are not well versed in the crypto space. Yeah, that's my vision on it. But yeah, always happy to have Dan have himself explain himself more. But yeah, these days he's been really busy building, and well, it's a great thing also. I can't wait to see everything that he has prepared. He plans on releasing the open source code of Fractally in June. I know he has a lot of news that he has been keeping to himself. I always see him in the Telegram chat saying, yeah, I really want to share it with you, but no, I'm going to restrain myself, and that's okay. June is really around the corner, and I can't wait to see what he has in store for us all. But yeah, we have a lot of work here at the EOS community in the meantime, and again, that's why we're here today, to discuss EOS related topics and how we can benefit from Fractally, of course, but from other things as well, such as the Trust TVM or the Mandel upgrade that we haven't talked a lot about today. So yeah, that can be a next topic that we can discuss, and people can join in and share their thoughts about it. Okay, sorry, a message from Zach Gold, who can't join us live. He's busy with the Yield Plus call at the moment, and yeah, we'll discuss the Mandel upgrade in the meantime. Yeah, sorry, Dogman, I didn't see your hand raised there. You can let's see.
Sounds good. I can speak. Can you hear me, Charles?
Sorry, who's speaking right now?
This is Dogman.
Oh, right. I already gave you the talk.
Hey, yeah, you guys have my hand raised because I didn't want to interrupt you while you were speaking.
No problem.
But yeah, thank you for calling me, and thank you for the great Twitter Spaces so far. I'm really excited to see you hosting this and the community here. There's been a lot of great discussion. So, yeah, thank you so much. And then I also just wanted to respond. I was inspired by the question that I think the Crypto asked, and your answer about Dan Larimer interviews and so forth, and Fractally. I was going to add that I was just actually re-listening to an interview from Bywire News, who's also on the call right now, where Michael O'Sullivan interviewed Dan Larimer a few months ago. And one, I recommend going back and listening to some of those interviews because there's a lot of great stuff in there, and they can be helpful to listen to again. And then two, Dan Larimer said something that struck out to me, that with the Fractally process, it gives you an opportunity to meet the celebrities in your community, because basically been meeting every week for like the past few months or whatever, and like we get to know most people in the community. Like I never spoke to Dan Larimer really before this, but I've met him like 3 times and we've spoken on these meetings. So that's just a cool thing that I recommend people to come join the Fractally meetings. And then also, as Charles said, we're planning on doing Eden Fractally meetings as well soon. So those are great ways to hear from people like Dan Larimer or meet the community and so forth. But yeah, there's something I wanted to. I know you're moving on to Mandel stuff, so I just wanted to say that I was inspired by the conversation. And yeah, thanks so much, Charles, for the awesome Twitter Spaces, and thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks. No, I agree with you. The Eden process that is going to happen more frequently now is also a great way to meet people in the space in our EOS community. I know when I started with EOS, I joined the first fractal election in October. From nowhere, I was elected delegate, first round delegate, to give funds to our EOS French community, help it being set up. It has allowed us to complete the translation of More Equal Animals, but it also allowed me to meet more people in the EOS community. And it's a great news also, besides Fractally. Fractally is a great way to meet people, of course, because it happens more frequently. It's every week. And I know through Joshua Shamo, which is on the call today, that he has the great idea of implementing it for the Eden community. We have the Eden elections, which are going to happen more frequently, which are a great way to meet people in the crypto EOS community. And having a Fractally meeting also for the Eden community each week is also a great way to meet more people which share your same values and want to contribute in the same aspects as you do. And it's going to be a great idea, I think. I'm very supportive of having more frequent meetings within the EOS community to help us go forward in the best way possible through consensus and finding the best ways we can all contribute, but also find people who want to contribute the same way as we do. Form teams. Teams are are a big part of Fractally. I know we formed our own team within Fractally, the EOS Francophonie team, which is dedicated to doing translations of everything Fractally related for the Prime Fractal, the first fractal of Fractally. And it's a great way to meet people, form teams, and it could really benefit from the Eden process, for sure. I agree with you a lot on that. Again, we're live on YouTube at EOS Support. I'm showing my screen when talking about some things. We'll be discussing the weekly Mandel upgrade next. And you can all jump in on the stream if you want to see the screen, or just if you can't speak up, you can always you're welcome to just post on the YouTube chat if you can't have your mic on the Twitter space. So moving on to the next topic, which is the Mandel upgrade, and a lot to talk about on that end too. So for those that don't know here with us today, this is a new code base being developed by the EOS.io coalition. That's EOS, WAX, Telos, and the EUX network. And it will replace the EOS.io legacy code from Block 1. Why is it called a consensus upgrade, the Mandel consensus upgrade, and not a hard fork? Yves Larose talked about it, but it's always good to rehash what it really means by that. So a consensus upgrade and not a hard fork. Because on EOS there is no need for a hard fork to implement meaningful changes to the codebase. So no new token that confuses people, for example. EOS continuously forks. These are soft forks through its many parameter changes, but each time with ample time for the improvements to be tested and for the developers and community to know about said changes, and for them to come to consensus, of course, on their merit. So that's why we call it the arrival of Mandel as a consensus upgrade on September 23rd. So same as the updates before it, but this time with our decentralized community and the ENF behind it. So you're welcome to join in the chat, have your questions answered or just your opinion heard about the Mandel upgrade, which I'm sure many of us are expecting, and it will include many upgrades to the EOS IO code that will benefit the whole ecosystem. The EOS coalition is making sure that Telos, Wax and UX Network all work together to have all their chains benefit from it, and it's absolutely, in my opinion, a great decentralized way to have everyone benefit from a single upgrade. And yeah, that's my opinion in the crypto space at large, is having everyone, well, contribute and finding ways to all work together to accomplish our unified goal of just making a better economic system and a better Web3 platform for every app and usage that we're going to find for it in the future, and all benefit from it. Let's see who we have on the call. So September 23rd, really close, and the Mandel upgrade will arrive as a soft fork, if I understood correctly, in June. So already in June we'll have access to the code, and but the consensus upgrade will happen on September 23rd. That's when it's planned. And yeah, if anyone with more knowledge or thoughts about the Mandel upgrade want to join in, you're welcome to do so. Again, the Fractally team with Dan Larimer will be sure to offer support and continuous support to the Mandel upgrade until it's released, and maybe after that. So that's the big news regarding the Mandel upgrade. On another topic, we had the Trust EVM. I was hoping to have someone from the ENF talk more about it, but as a quick resume, I maybe want to hear your thoughts all about the Trust EVM. So as we said earlier, there's the Trust swap, which is a swap that will deploy on the EOS EVM that is already on the testnet. I've put the link in the YouTube chat, but yeah, I wanted to hear your thoughts also about Ethereum 2.0. What's your opinion, and what would you say to convince developers to build on Trust EVM instead of staying on the Ethereum blockchain after the Ethereum 2.0 upgrade, if it happens, and in what capacity it happens? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it. As always, as EOS Support, we gather all the information that we can and then summarize it in our guides. So anything you say here today can help me and the EOS Support non-profit organization build more guides and tutorials and explain in your own words, well, how someone can benefit from the Trust EVM in this case, or the Mandel upgrade as we discussed earlier. So really, any thoughts that you have on the subject can help us do more accurate guides and tutorials for the people that will come later down the line and discover all about the Trust EVM or the Mandel upgrade as discussed today. Okay. So anyone, welcome to joining at any time to have your thoughts heard on the subject. And we've been here for an hour already. Well, very condensed discussions about, well, the summary of the Fireside Chat. We had talk about the Mandel upgrade, the Trust EVM, and can't wait to have this event shared in more crypto community spaces. That's our goal again here at EOS Support, is to, well, not only organize chat for ourselves and the EOS community, but also give a chance to anyone in the wider crypto space to join in and have their questions answered about EOS. Of course, the ENF has been doing a great job at reaching out to major media outlets to better explain what are the recent developments over at EOS and building up the storytelling behind all organization. How we made secession from Block 1 and took our future into our own hands, becoming a truly decentralized DAO, and how the ENF is now in charge of distributing funding to the community, but how the ENF is also has obligations to the community. So at any time the block producers can choose to change the keys or change the EOS.io grants account. I think it's your EOS.io grants account, which receives the funding which the ENF uses. At any time the block producers can change their vote on it, and the consensus can be changed about the ENF and their position and role leading the EOS, wider EOS community. So in that sense, we're truly decentralized because we always have the option to convince block producers to change to another organization or to another way to distribute the funding from the inflation. But current consensus is the ENF is doing an amazing job at spearleading the community and showing what the community is all about to the major media outlets, driving the Mandel upgrade, and even more with the working groups, the blue papers, etc. So next topic, what could we discuss? Again, if anyone wants to pitch in, have any questions answered, you can just raise your hand. If any of you don't have the time but still have questions, again, we're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week over at EOS Support. That's eossupport.io, our website. And it's a free service. Anyone is happy to have their questions answered there at any time. The event is live on our YouTube. You're welcome to talk, Joshua Seymour. I don't know if I have to.
Hey, I just wanted to jump in and say thank you for hosting the space. I think you did a great job. You're an awesome presenter, and unfortunately I jumped on late today, so I'll have to catch the recording, but really appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. Always great seeing you, Joshua. You've been doing great work with Fractally. I've always seen you at the punning of Fractally meetings, and that's my same goal here today, to have another event where everyone can discover more about the EOS ecosystem and all the good that we're doing here today. So again, what can we talk next about? We have a lot of news, of course, every week within the EOS community. The ENF does a great job at summarizing the events in their EOS weekly report. To this week we had the mainstream media coverage, which included Wired, Forbes publishing articles about the Trust EVM, more people learning about all the good that we're doing. The Yield Plus blue paper, which is soon coming, I think in the next few days or so. Very soon we're going to learn more about, we've been learning a lot about the Yield Plus blue paper from Denis Carrière of EOS Nation, which has been working on it and has been doing interviews with Nova Crypto recently, talking more about it. So Joshua, don't worry, you didn't miss a whole lot. The first part of this event was dedicated to summarizing the EOS weekly Fireside Chat. I think in the next events that's something that we're going to do. For all of you that didn't have time to stay for the whole EOS Fireside Chat, I think it's a good thing that I host these events and make sure that people can come in and discover a full summary of everything that was discussed in the EOS Fireside Chat recently, yesterday. So if I host the event every Thursday, that's going to be a great way again for people to come in and see what they missed on the EOS Fireside Chat. So the first part of all of you that are joining now, the first part of our show here today was dedicated to summarizing the EOS Fireside Chat, every topic discussed, every great thing that was mentioned by our respected community members during the Fireside Chat. And we discussed a bit about the Trust EVM, about the Mantle upgrade. And if any of you want to pitch in, it's an open mic discussion now. You're welcome to join in at any time. I see Chris Barnes joining, Joshua Seymour, I know you joined later down the line, but it's great to see you all here today. We have one more. Ask Perry. You're welcome to speak up. So whenever you're ready. Okay.
Are you asking for Chris or anybody else to speak up?
Oh, for yourself, you have to speak up. You're welcome to do it anytime. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm curious to know what amount of focus of EOS support is dedicated to helping people get self-custody of their own accounts.
Ooh. Yeah.
In other words, I don't know if you've been following along on Telegram. I've been bringing the concept up that we need to get our keys, our control of our accounts off of the exchanges, and that would be a positive scenario in any case. And I'm curious to know what, as far as this particular group, and I'm on the website eossupport.io.
Yep.
How much of that is dedicated to really getting people who don't know anything about EOS or even computers, for that matter? They have one, they have a phone. How much of your effort is in that direction?
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. And actually, it's one of the most important things that we're doing here at EOS Support is helping everyone find out the best ways to secure their account. So that includes moving your EOS off of centralized exchanges. And for those of you that are just joining in, this event is live streamed on YouTube, where I'm sharing my screen. I'm actually sharing my screen now to an article that we have on EOS Support, which is dedicated to, entitled How to Move EOS Off an Exchange and into Your Own EOS Wallet. So we have a lot of articles which are dedicated to explaining step by step how you can move off your EOS from exchanges, how to also secure them, which includes changing your keys, of course, your public key and private key. And this is one of the main things that we do here at EOS Support, is making sure that everyone who joins the EOS ecosystem knows about how the best securities that they can implement to better secure their account. And of course that starts first by moving your EOS off of centralized exchanges. And a lot of what we do here at EOS Support is really dedicated to that, to making sure that everyone knows how to do this. So changing their keys, moving off EOS from exchanges, etc. A lot of articles that we have about it on our website. So you go to eossupport.io, you have the Learning Center, and you have all the categories which we have, which I can show you for those that are live on our stream. We have articles for really the people that are new to EOS. We have step-by-step tutorials, which are more in-depth tutorials about changing your keys, adding security to your account. We have then tutorials about the EOS D apps that exist. But yeah, we have a everything needed for anyone, may it be a newbie to the EOS ecosystem or really good developers that want to join in, discover how they can benefit from the upcoming Trust EVM, or just learn about EOS IO in general. But yeah, really a main thing and main goal that we have here at EOS Support is first and foremost making sure that every newcomer and people that don't know really don't have any knowledge about crypto in general know how to change their keys and benefit from this EOS ecosystem as best as they can and in the most secure way as possible. So again, all these articles and guides are on our website. You can find them within the different categories that we have there.
I think what I'm referring to is something even more basic than changing your keys. That seems to be advanced in relation to what I'm actually referring to. I'm talking about people who don't even know where to store their keys of their account, their brand new account. They have no idea what to do with their keys. They don't know whether to write it on a piece of paper, put it in a safe. They don't know, they may or may not even use a password manager. They just normal people.
Absolutely.
Because that's what we want.
Yeah.
We want normal people to have an EOS account just like they have a bank account, or even better. They may not even have a bank account. That would be the perfect situation where it would be so easy that even if they just had a phone and they lived in some remote area, they would be able to figure out how to safely store their crypto. So even that most basic concept of where do I store my private key, and an awareness of that, and a level of usability, of ease of use, that is kind of beyond what the level, or rather below, I guess you might say, below the level of the people that are probably on this call. I'm talking about just so simple, the kind of simple where it's the same kind of simple of when you get a brand new Apple or Android. It just walks you through, and it's a complete wizard, and you don't get dropped off. And there is an answer and solution for virtually everything. That kind of simplicity. That's what I'm interested in, finding out if that exists, and I'm not sure if it does, but if it exists, and what kind of funds have you asked for funds to help make that happen? And have you been denied these funds from anywhere? Or have people come forth, has the ENF come forth and said, this is what we want something really simple? Where in the priority list has this stat in relation to your group?
Yeah, absolutely. So to answer that, it's very high on our priority list, and it's actually already done with EOS Support. We have an article on our website which is called How to Backup Your Private Keys. So when I first came into the EOS community, I talked with communities in South Africa through Veronica Diaz and many people which were already working with their local communities to find ways to explain as simply as possible how one which doesn't know anything about crypto can still create an account and secure their keys. So the article that I'm showing now on screen is called How to Backup Your Private Keys, which is on our website. It was a real priority for us, really, yes, to make sure that people who don't know anything about crypto, really, who are real beginners, can still find ways to easily and know how to secure their private keys. So we have a tutorial on our website again, which explains just that, how to back up your keys, how to encrypt them, how to store them in a piece of paper somewhere, but still making sure they are really private and really secured. We compare that as often as we can as the keys to your house to people that don't know anything about crypto. You lose the keys to the house while you lose access to your account. And people, figure out more easily the idea behind having your own keys or crypto keys through that metaphor. And that's how we explain it as simply as we can through our guides on EOS Support. Because yes, it's really important to make sure that people who don't know anything about crypto can still find ways to safely and securely secure their account. And that starts, yes, with securing your key in a safe place, written somewhere, really secure. And after that, we have found even more ways to make sure that little by little, as they start being more comfortable with securing their account, changing their keys, and also implementing other accounts from their family as multi-sig accounts on their main account, so that if they maybe someday lose their key, or maybe their key gets stolen, they can still have a way through the family members which are added as active keys on their multi-sig account, can still come in and get their keys changed for them. So little by little, step by step, we have found from the most simple things to the most complicated ones how to explain to people how they can secure their account. And that goes, yes, from the most simple aspect of it to more complex secure methods. And all that is already written on our EOS Support website. Regarding the funding of our non-profit organization, we have the Pomelo rounds each time, which again, thanks everyone who donates to the Pomelo rounds, to EOS Support. We do our best to prove to you all that we care about doing things right by the EOS ecosystem, which includes making sure that these articles are well made, are dedicated to people who are not just crypto enthusiasts, but anyone from any local community who just wants to enjoy the benefits that we have to offer, and without knowing anything at first about crypto. And regarding the funding, we offer now services to the ENF. We recently reached out to more than 300 DApps and developers to prepare for the Mandel upgrade. We recently had also a survey for them to respond on their preferred platform of development. And little by little, yes, we found ourselves giving services to more and more companies which want to develop on EOS. Down the line, that will include doing security work, doing audit work, making ourselves available as emergency contacts for organizations within the EOS ecosystem, to have us as emergency contacts anytime they have a question. They can access our trusted EOS agents, knowledgeable agents about EOS, and more down the line. That's we are a non-profit organization, but Randall Roland, which is our CEO, thinks much of our strategy like a business. So making sure that we have the funds necessary to continue our good work, and to allow people like myself to come in from nowhere and who want to contribute and find ways to do it. We have our paid agents, which are monthly paid to answer tickets online, but we also have our squad members. The EOS Support squads are people who are not paid monthly, but who can still participate, reach out to their local community, help people discover EOS Support, redirect people from their community to EOS Support whenever they have a problem with EOS, and we pay them through consensus meetings. We organize bi-weekly consensus meetings where we invite all the squad members that have joined us, and through a 2/3 consensus, like in Fractal Democracy, they find within themselves the project or the contributions that they think has done the best work at helping us reach out to as many people as possible. So regarding the funding, for now, we're pretty good. Thanks again to each one of you through donating with the Pomelo rounds. And we're finding more and more ways to making sure that our decentralized, decentralized in some form because we have the squads, but centralized because we mostly follow the rules and leadership of Randall Welland, which we'll trust to make sure we get the funding necessary to continue our work. Where we go next, we don't know, but for now we're very happy, at least myself and the other EOS Support agents, on how things are going. And as you've seen, we couldn't be proud of ourselves for making these great guides, translations, because of course again the articles I'm speaking about are available in English, but also in Spanish, French, Italian, Russian, Turkish, Chinese and Korean, and Dutch as well. So
these are, I'm on that page, I'm on the how to back up your private keys page, and this is great. This is great. I'm not here to criticize your work because this didn't exist before, and so it's much appreciated. But this is not the level of ease of use that I'm referring to. For example, if I look at the section called "Create a Backup of Your Keys," I can look at item number 1, and it says "Download and update file encryption tool."
Yeah.
Now, you've already lost everybody that I've onboarded with that.
True.
If they were to go here and try to create their own EOS account, then you've lost them. It's over. They don't know what encryption is.
No, true. No, there's no but questions, of course. The way we're doing things here at EOS Support is we're taking every feedback we can. Of course, making the perfect article is complicated enough, and we need, of course, every one of your suggestions on how to make it better. So anytime, of course, you see things that could be done better, of course, we're a decentralized way.
The point that I want to make is that the idea getting our accounts off the exchanges is the key to restoring DPoS, and it is the breaking of DPoS because the exchanges are voting with tokens that aren't theirs is the very thing that is the primary cause for the price of EOS being a little over $1. That's the connection I want people to make. So this page I'm sitting on is a key, in my mind, is a key to the solution to having that vision and a price that was associated with a $4 billion ICO. So I don't think it's something to dismiss or brush off or we can get better. I think this is the actual key. And so that's what I want to communicate to this group at this particular moment, that if this group or other groups can focus on that I believe is the greatest contribution at this particular moment. Now my vision for the solution in the end game is actually something that's integrated right into wallets themselves. So I see the real solution is to be something happening in the Anchor wallet, where you set up an Anchor wallet, and the Anchor wallet may not be storing your private keys, the private keys in the wallet itself as a backup, but it may facilitate that from within the same interface, from within the same wizard or set of wizards. That's, I think, so that the user really just has one thing to download and deal with from their point of view. Now that may be a distributed system, like a password manager. It may be integrating with some third-party password manager, but it's those kinds of solutions that make it just absolutely simple for somebody who is just selling coconuts. Like, for example, in El Salvador, the way they created a wallet there in El Salvador who some vendor is selling coconuts in the street, and they now have the ability to transact with other citizens within their country. EOS needs to come up with those kinds of solutions if there is any hope that we have mass adoption. Otherwise, all we're doing is we're just playing another game. We're not actually addressing the real source of the problem and the real area of our solution. So thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
Absolutely agree with you.
If I could jump in real quick. Just real quick.
Really quick. The Wombat is a solution where it's very easy and the users don't need to handle the keys. That's also the first one on the how to create an EOS account article, which we recommend. Yeah, that's all what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I've set people up on Wombat, and it wasn't entirely clear that they had to pay further to access their keys and exactly where those were. So, I've been writing software for decades, and I wasn't able to understand exactly what was happening with that by walking through the wizard. Now, of course, if I studied it, and eventually I did figure it out for the people that I did set up on Wombat, but I'm talking about it just has to be absolutely simple, where it's just crystal clear what's going on and so forth.
So, Perry, if I could respond to that. I think people in this space, we're so short on developer talent in this space. Everybody wants more developers, right? And that means people that are in the space and developing are really working on what they are passionate about. And people have different ideas for what is the right move forward for DPoS and for EOS. What's the right way to design a wallet? What's the right way for people to secure their accounts? And for me personally, I'm very interested in what you're talking about from a mass adoption perspective. I agree with you that I think these solutions need to be as friendly as possible, even for non-technical people. But it's also worth noticing that the coconut salesman is not a large whale, and bringing their tokens off of an exchange is not going to make a big difference. And it's actually not, I believe that it's probably better for them to leave their tokens on an exchange. If you're a non-technical person that doesn't know how to download a file and do the instructions as seen in the EOS Support article, then it's probably your best bet to leave your tokens on an exchange. They have a support team that can help you do things, and it's centralized, so there's potentially some legal recourse if something were to happen.
That's true.
So,
situation, but I'm not saying that. Yeah, I agree. That's for the coconut salesman. It isn't practical. But my point is that it should be. That's where jumped on, Gene. I'm glad you jumped on because you're exactly the kind of person that can actually answer my next question, which is when all of this started, Dan and B1 were coming out with articles that were declaring a wallet that held the private keys in a biometric secure enclave on a chip on our phones. Now, which would simply be biometrically stored, and you use your face or your fingerprint, and that's massive ease of use. That seems to be the answer. So my question is Fractally picking that back up? And maybe I just need to be a little more patient, and that's just going to happen. And I think you're close to Fractally. I think you're very close to Dan, as far as I know. I'm not sure, but that's my impression. So I'm curious to know how you respond to that.
My response is we're working on things that we find to be the highest priority, and it's not that. And you're a software developer, so it sounds like you're passionate about this. My challenge for you is to start writing a solution, start designing a solution. I think if there's one thing the EOS community has learned in the last 4 years, it's that things that you care about are not going to get done by somebody else. We all need to contribute if we want to make this ecosystem great. And if you're passionate about a particular project and you have the skill set to contribute in a meaningful way, then please, we all need you to do it. And so, no, the Fractally team, that's not a priority. We're working on things that we consider to be more fundamental, more foundational, the governance challenge. How do we coordinate people in a neutral way? And that is more important than allowing people who are non-technical to get onboarded into the space. That is a secondary concern to us. But
I would say that you're right about that. I mean, that would be like one of the few exceptions. I agree with that. The governance is massive.
But the general principle, Perry, here is that people need to work on what they're passionate about, because that's what they're going to be most efficient in doing. And if your position is that this is the most important thing, then it's probably a lot more efficient for you to do something yourself than to just shout from the rooftops.
Well, I'm not a C++ programmer, and I have never developed anything on a device. I purely worked on a web stack, and so that would be a completely new venture for me to do that. And frankly, I haven't dove into. I took a few lessons for just to understand generally what was going on the EOS blockchain. So I have a rough idea on that, but that's not. It would not be efficient for me to address the secure enclave of the phone at this particular moment. I'm deciding at my particular stage in my career that interpreting what's going on in the ecosystem is my highest and best use at this particular moment. Now, I still do projects for clients and that kind of thing. I still have clients, but those are different projects, not secure enclave business. So I'm glad to hear that you guys are working on governance, and I understand that there's limited funds, and you didn't the addressing of the biometrics and secure enclave for the purpose of storing keys hasn't made hasn't been on the budget up to now. But my question is it even on the radar? Is that even a question? Because that does seem to be kind of a key. Now you bring up a point.
It's on many people's radars. It's just not at the top of everyone's priority list.
Okay, so the approach that I feel like Dan is expressed is we're not going to even deal with the problem that the accounts are stuck on the exchanges. We're going to ask that the chain delegate governance directly to an Eden process or a Fractally process, thereby completely going around the issue of the tokens being stuck on the exchanges and the exchanges being able to vote for them. We don't even need to deal with that. Is that an accurate characterization of the thinking?
That is correct, yes. The goal is for Fractally to choose its own block producers through the Fractally process and not going through DPoS. That is correct.
Now I think if that's the case, I think I understand what's going on. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
James, do you have a comment about that?
No.
All right. Well, I appreciate it very much, gentlemen. Those are my questions and my statements. So thank you.
Hi, this is Gabrielle, business development at Helios. Fascinating conversation. Just a couple of maybe observations or questions. I'm wondering if EOS Support has direct access to the folks at Anchor Wallet, for example, because I think what Perry's asking for is more of an integration of content into the actual wallet experience itself, rather than a separate support documentation, which should only be needed if the person gets stuck or doesn't understand what they're doing when they're trying to use a product or technology. So maybe there's a conversation to be had directly with Anchor to add, I'm going to call it tooltips. But if you look at a platform like Intercom, they have integrations that you can make, and there's plenty of those types of tools that will add some level of guidance within the product experience itself instead of separate support articles. I just wanted to check that that was clear to the EOS support team, and if there's any kind of conversation with Anchor or any other wallet. The other point there is that Theta, for example, Theta boasts having its own wallet, and so that obviously makes it more easy to have that unified, complete, holistic experience that Perry, you were talking about in terms of Apple, where you switch it on and you've got everything in front of you. If EOS itself doesn't have its own wallet like Theta does, then it would mean having close ties with the wallets and adding in the tooltip kind of functionality.
Absolutely. So the answer is yes, we are in direct contact with the Grey Mask team. We invited them to our Slack channel, and we are collaborating with them to exchange ideas and of course recent EOS developments on their end, what they're working on, what they are tackling, what problems they are tackling for the EOS ecosystem. And one of our goals at EOS Support is doing the guides on what exists currently. So currently, of course, we don't have the preferred wallets with the functionalities, simple functionalities that we would want from them. Grey Mask is going to work on them with the Wallet Plus SDK, and they're going to contribute. But yeah, we are in direct contact with them through our Slack to exchange ideas. So we respect their work a lot, and we made sure to be in direct contact with them, just to exchange our opinions and of course recent developments on each of our works. So that's the short answer.
So, sounds good. Let me just, one other thing with what Perry's talking about here. If there's a lot of people that have got EOS tokens on exchanges and they're not moving it, then we got to try and understand the segmentation of those people. We've got to understand, are they whales who somehow potentially have a vested interest in the existing block producers having control, and therefore they do not want to, they know they could take it off the exchange, they know what value that would give, and they do not want to do it, right? How do we know if it's that kind of a situation versus if there are large whales that have EOS tokens on the exchanges and they don't know the damage that it's doing? Are those people? Can we communicate to those people somehow? How would we get the message to specifically those people? Because presumably, if they're whales and they've been sitting on tokens, they're probably, I'm going to assume that they're savvy enough to not need tooltips in a wallet to take it to, and a support article to remove the tokens on the exchange. Maybe they do. Maybe they got lucky. They were brand new crypto investors and they bought a chunk of EOS tokens on ICO, lots of money. But chances are they're not that new to wallet management. But we still need to communicate to them. So even if we can reach them, even if we can somehow get their attention, do we have a pitch? Do we have a reason why and a justification that is motivating for them to actually remove the tokens from the exchanges? Back to you.
Maybe there are BPs without a BP.json.
That's correct, yes. I'm sure there are many different types of whales. At EOS Support, we have helped many people access their ERC20 ICO sale EOS tokens. So many whales, I'm sure, bought EOS from the ICO and maybe haven't touched it in a long time. Most of our work at EOS Support in the recent months has been helping people recover them, and I'm sure maybe there are whales that are among them. So I'm sure there are whales who don't know anything about EOS or how to manage them, and sure, having tutorials and guides on our website to educate them and to explain to them why it is important for them to remove their EOS from an exchange and actually vote with their EOS to a trusted block producers that are doing good job in their opinion, while constitutes more advantages for them and for their investment as just leaving them on an exchange that is going to do God knows what with all that power. So it's an education job that we're doing, but I'm sure again there's many different types of whales, and we can only try to convince those who are new to the ecosystem and with arguments. Maybe someone has more opinion on that.
Yeah, there are ideas and discussions about how EOS Support could offer services similar to exchanges in the future. One example that I was hoping EOS Support could use is EOS Inbox. I think to compete with exchanges, we need ways to help users when they lose their password, private key, or device, or as Perry says, if someone is too lazy to look into the ways how EOS works and to get the information that they are able to manage their EOS account with the private keys, that we have an option to offer like custodial accounts for these users, that someone else manages their keys for them. And I think if we have solutions like this in place, we maybe have a chance to compete against these exchanges.
The problem is that if you let's say we get the attention of Aaron at Grey Mouse, and the idea gets put in front of Aaron to create a wizard to allow the user, when setting up their account and storing their keys, to proxy their vote, and educate the user about what that means to proxy their vote. Is that already happening? I haven't set up a new account in the last few months on Anchor. Is it that prominent within the process to proxy your vote and what that really means, as opposed to so that's one thing. I'm not sure if I made that statement clear, but yeah. Maybe that isn't perfectly clear.
Maybe that isn't. Yeah, sorry about that. You can rephrase if you can.
Well, I guess my point is that what I'm trying to get to is that it's not in the interest of the people that are paying Aaron, which is the ENF, and the people that are paying the ENF, which is the block producers, to remove the power that puts them in place. It removes, right? That's the challenge that we have. That's the conundrum. That's the dilemma. Is that we would be asking Aaron to put in something that takes away his own money, his own source of funding. That's the difficult part right now, as it stands at this moment. And I think that's hard to hear for everybody, but I think that kind of thing needs to be understood and known and said as to what's actually happening. And maybe I'm wrong, and I'm interested in knowing if that's not how everybody feels, but to me that seems to be glaringly obvious of something that's not being said. That the answers if we're not going to go full Eden or full fractally, which I am excited to hear that may be a plan to do that. If we're not going to do that, then we need to reconnect DPoS, and the key to reconnecting DPoS is currently not in the interest of the people that can actually make that happen. So that's kind of the point I was trying to make, and sorry I fumbled it the first time.
No, it's all right. You're welcome to step in, Chris Barnes.
Yeah, so great comment, Perry. Like, I think you make on a very sort of surface, high level view, it makes a lot of sense what you said. Like, there is a conflict of potential interest in terms of the power struggle. On the other hand, however, if the narrative is compelling enough, because those who are in power, someone owns tokens, and I know there's this concern that the exchanges are voting on the customer's behalf. I think there's a piece to that that's potentially misunderstood that I'm myself learning about, and that's the idea that a lot of these exchanges actually do own a large amount of EOS tokens because of the fact that they are a market maker, and they end up absorbing, in terms of like basically an impermanent loss, a lot of the token stake ends up in their possession. Like, they actually own it. It's not just customer tokens. And so from that view, there is an incentive from those that are in the top 21, implicitly, due to the fact that they own EOS, someone owns EOS, they're going to want the price of EOS to go up in some fashion. So if there's a narrative, a compelling narrative, that by improving DPoS participation, improving the narrative around community involvement and proxies, that they might be willing to sort of go against what you've pointed out as a potential conflict of interest. So I'm not sure it's as cut and dry as it might seem from a high level, is my point.
I would like to second that. I think ignoring Fractally, ignoring alternate governance mechanisms, purely from a DPoS perspective, it is unclear. What the right move is, and I think if you're coming at this from a desire to change the block producers, right? You think that the top block producers are not the ones that should be in power, and you think there's a different set that are doing more for the network. That's probably not the right way to think about mechanism design. And by mechanism design, I mean the design of the incentive structures that allow blockchains to function in a resilient and anti-fragile way. The way one ought to think about mechanism design is from first principles, from thinking about improving, for example, the resolution of conveying token-weighted vote, or the amount of weight that we give to people who have a lot of value actually at stake for the network. And so it's unclear to me that removing tokens from exchanges improves that in a meaningful way. The exchanges, as Chris said, are actually large liquidity holders and have a vested interest in the network. And there's at least an argument to be made that it's not necessarily a positive thing for the health of the network to remove the vote weight of tokens. That's kind of a fundamental piece of delegated proof of stake. So I just wanted to second what Chris said, and also just say I agree that it's not quite so cut and dry. It's definitely not obvious what the right solution is.
Okay, I definitely want to respond to that, James. You mentioned a first principle, and you mentioned token to vote ratios as the area that we should be looking to resolve this. How I would respond to that is to say that we have a principle even more fundamental than that, which is the tokens, who's actually voting for it, regardless of what the token weight is, who actually has control of the vote. So I'll say that is principle 0.
From a base layer perspective, from the perspective of the protocol, there are no people. There are tokens, and tokens vote. So that is not a principle 0. That is a second order principle that you're talking about.
Well, it matters not what the ratio is if you don't have control of the vote. If the people that actually supposedly own it, the token, don't have control of the vote. Now, if you say, well, when you put it onto an exchange, you don't really own it, it's not really yours. Okay, well, that's I disagree with that sentiment. Just in the same way that I don't think the banks really should own, quote unquote, own my money when I deposit. I think that's a gimmick. I don't know how to describe it, but that's a negative feature of our current banking system. And I don't think that we should be adopting that. We should be actually trying to address that.
So one way that can be addressed, though, is simply by realignment of incentives or creating new incentive structures that will lead to the outcome you're suggesting is more optimal, Perry. So for me, one of the things that I think the Yield Plus group is going to be presenting to us, well, it's not what I think, it's true, is more yield opportunity for EOS token holders. But in order to capture that yield, the token holders are going to have to self-custody. Those incentives are not going to be available to exchanges. So assuming Yield Plus does what I think we all hope it will, and that is to provide yield for token holders, that will create an incentive mechanism that will start to combat exactly what you're speaking to, Perry, but doing it from an incentive structure versus just how do we change the rules to achieve the outcome that we desire.
Wow, Chris, thank you for that. That's important. That's key, and I did not realize that. So you're telling me that Yield Plus, a requirement to gain that yield, is to not be on the exchanges, but in fact be self-custody. Did I just hear that? I'm going to listen to this recording again, but I think I just heard that.
That is my understanding. I just had a conversation with one of the key people involved, and that's what I have come to understand from that conversation earlier this morning. And that's so. In order to participate with the yield, you can't have your tokens on an exchange. They can't participate either. So instead of using a platform like DeFi Box or Trust Staking or many of the other DFS and maybe Pizza Swap, like all these other AMMs and swap platforms that provide liquidity pools, those are the mechanisms and the means by which the yield can be captured for token holders. And I'll say one other thing that I'm going to propose as an adjustment, because I know this isn't included in the Yield Plus, but I'm going to write one of those recommendations. So it's the idea of what's the incentive to be an Eden member, and I guess it's slightly off topic, so I apologize, but what's the incentive to be an Eden member? And one of them that I'm going to put forward is Eden member accounts should receive an additional yield on top of just the traditional EOS account yield that they would receive from any of these Yield Plus mechanisms. Thereby, if I'm an Eden member and I have my Eden account, I can choose to use that account to deposit liquidity or yield to a yield program, and I'll receive additional rewards for that. That will then create an economic incentive to actually, why join Eden? Well, join because you can actually have slightly more yield on your deposits.
Interesting idea. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. This is going in a very positive way, and I don't mean to change the subject, but you brought up another interesting question that I have in my mind, which is, will the yield be available if a token holder doesn't have EOS but has another token? Like, for example, I have at this particular moment very little EOS, but I have a lot of an EOS token, or I have a substantial amount in an EOS token, which is not EOS. Will I have the opportunity to have yield, participate in Yield Plus in that scenario?
The paper's not released. I think it's going to come out today. So certainly we'll all have an opportunity to find these answers for ourselves. My understanding, however, is it'll be mostly predicated on EOS ownership or USDT on EOS ownership. Those are the two main tokens that are going to be promoted in terms of the Yield Plus. But so I don't know for sure though, because in the end it will be dependent upon the actual platform itself to figure out how they want to distribute the additional yield that the network is providing for them. But my understanding is it's mostly centered around USDT on EOS and EOS to drive up the TVL of those tokens.
Okay, I'm looking forward to learning about that. I will make the case that I think it's important that it go beyond just EOS, or at least I'm interested in hearing the reasons why it wouldn't be. But I think it's important because if I just step back and self-examine, in my mind, I have a huge vested interest in EOS, the blockchain, the ecosystem, and the coin. However, I may not be in that particular coin at any one time. So I think I want to make the case that be extended to the entire ecosystem, that you can be in any coin. So yeah, that's going to be another set of topics.
Yeah, maybe that's a future state, Perry. I think initially, though, that the additional yield, where that yield is coming from, is through network inflation. So it's EOS that is ultimately the token that is going to be diluted if we're going to start to provide that yield to other EOS-based tokens. So I can see where it would be, it's more targeted for the block producers to say, okay, this additional use of inflation is going to go towards the token that matters most to the EOS network, right, which is the EOS token itself. And then the second most important token would be arguably USDT as a major global token, stable token that's used everywhere. And I know I've tried to transfer USDT using, I had to use Tron once to get it from one exchange to another because they didn't have the EOS option. That to me was a total shame. So I can see the focus should be on locking up more USDT EOS based on the EOS network to then incentivize more exchanges to want to actually adopt the US option or the EOS option to transfer USDT.
So USDT, but not USDC.
That's my understanding based on what I've read so far on the Yield Plus paper. That's the preview. So I think that's how it was broken out. Yeah, not USDC.
Okay.
The other one, guys. Great chat though.
Yeah, very interesting chat. I appreciate this. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been great having everyone today here, answering each other's questions, and great topics discussed as well. Yeah, and we can't all wait to discover the whole Yield Plus blue paper coming today. Yeah, so far we've been here for 2 hours, summarizing events, topics, having great discussions. For the first time, I want to thank everyone. It's been going great. It's always been great to have each one of you here today. And I can't wait to do even more events like this. The goal is to have even more people join in from the wider crypto space. As EOS Support, we'll be sure to answer all their questions, but also make sure that we have respected members of the EOS community as today, ready to answer questions and debate on what we want to accomplish for ourselves here in the EOS ecosystem. Well, we've covered a lot of topics. Maybe if any of you want to share another one, I still have ample time to host the event, and it's my pleasure to doing so. But otherwise, yeah, it's been already a great talk, as we said. Maybe if you want a specific topic to be discussed next time, we'll be sure to dig into the Yield Plus blue paper, that's for sure. And next time, we'll see what else we have to say, besides summarizing the EOS Fireside Chat and other events like this. But in any case, it's been great having you all. I think we've covered all the subjects that we wanted to discuss today. Again, thank you all for participating. It has been my pleasure hosting the event here on the Twitter space and on YouTube. I will continue to work with the EOS Discord community to find out which are the best ways to host these events. Maybe keep the EOS Fireside Chat on Discord because people like it more, and me and the EOS Support hosting another event on Twitter Space this time. We'll see how we go about that, but this was a great experiment today that we'll be sure to reiterate. Again, I'll be hosting later events in Spanish and French for other community members who don't speak English to can join in and participate. and so I can relay the EOS community informations in as many languages as possible. I think we'll stop here for today, but again, thank you all for participating. It has been my pleasure doing so, hosting this event. And yeah, if anyone wants to add something for the end, or we can all part ways now. In any case, I'm Charles Arroyo Bishop, and it has been my pleasure being able to host the conversations here today. And I'll see you all next time. Thank you all. Have a great day, and see you next time. And go EOS, as always. See you all. Have a great day.